So, Sly,
Yes.
how did you find Perryman's game?
About average to below average.
Oh, so really good then. Ha ha!
Welcome to the Collingwood Rant. I'm Sly.
And I'm still celebrating Carlton's second win.
Second
They
win.
win? They would have won this week, didn't they?
Surely. No, they played a good team this week.
Who?
Hawthorn.
Oh, they are a good team. So, Carlton, how much they beat them by?
Unfortunately, they didn't.
They didn't win!
No.
Oh. Remind me to laugh about that later.
And that's all we have time for this week.
All right, well, thanks for watching.
Played our traditional rivals. What are they? Fucking been in the league for 400 years or something. Bulldogs for 2 flags.
I haven't followed any of this. Now, it was their 100th anniversary. How did we tie into that 100th anniversary? Wouldn't their game last week been their 100th anniversary, start of the season? Did they play on this particular day? Did they play us in their first game? Was there some connection as to why we had to have this event against Collingwood at the MCG and they happened to have their biggest crowd ever or something since 1976?
I don't know. I don't care. They're an insignificant club. We should be disbanded.
What's next? Who are we playing next week?
The bye.
Oh, the bye. We were a chance against them. What do we play after that? Carlton?
Yeah.
Oh, so it's comedy round. Is it the International Comedy Festival?
Going into this game, we got the goey back.
Go into it?
No, and Sullivan went out.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there was an air of complacency because we smashed the might of Port Adelaide in their first game for the year? Not even in their 100th year either. It's just
I think, based on some of the way that we played, we went into this game thinking that they're without Treloar, Bontempelli, some other big name. What's his name? Charlemagne or something?
Ugelhagen.
Yeah, no.
Didn't make bail.
Yeah, no, I don't have a gag about that. And there was someone else, some other player that's good for them was out. So I think we went into that thinking, it could be them or someone else. Started with a C. I thought it was Charlemagne. Isn't he a French despot?
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know why I'm making this shit up.
I think that's the
Do you know why I'm making stuff up?
Because you don't know.
I've got a job interview with Channel 7 this week. There's a new show. There's a new footy show coming out. Did you know that?
Hell, yeah, I saw there's some ad for something.
You can set your watch by them.
Do you know Brian Taylor says there's too many footy shows, and he said that on his footy show podcast.
Irony can be pretty ironic sometimes. I think we looked at them, I reckon, as a weakened side. We would have done the whole mantra about, you can't take them for granted, all that sort of stuff. But I think we went in there with a mindset that this was going to be a bit of an easy win. Everyone in the media was talking about a 4 to 5 goal gimme win. We've got a bye this week. I think parts of that element we took into it and really didn't respect how much they'd come to play. I think the 100th anniversary was quite important to them. Didn't they have Bob Murphy on an armchair or something, reading from a book?
I don't know. I don't know who Bob Murphy is. Is he the guy who usurped the Premiership Cup when they won it?
Oh, yeah, that don't get me started. That really pissed me off. That prick.
Yeah.
Alleged prick. I can't call him a
prick. And we did lose my check the soreness.
Yeah, he had a back spasm apparently.
Yep. Carrying the forward line. I've long been an advocate of Ned Long, but honestly, if you're going to start him as sub, he shouldn't be in the side.
Yeah, that was fucking baffling. I think the whole of the internet couldn't work that one out.
It's really weird. I know, I go on about Ned Long and people go, he's a plotter or a battler or whatever.
He's below average.
Below average, which makes him great. But 9 tackles in this game.
9 tackles?
9. I actually think when he came on, due to Reef McInnes's unfortunate ACL, it started to arrest their momentum because they were just streaming out of the middle with absolutely no pressure on them. There was no body on body or anything. It was like a training run. Now, when he got in there, it was like sorry, I'm going to fucking say it, like Pendlebury, Cyber, and great players and all that. They're not really renowned for running both ways as midfielders. Neither's Nick and everyone else we've got there. And he's one guy who's actually very defensively minded. So if he's not going to win it, he's going to do his best to make sure they don't carry it away. I actually think the synergy, the chemistry of the midfield, they're really got to work out how it's going to function because it is a little bit slow. and it isn't necessarily frenetic in its pressure.
No, we got touched up in the clearances, I think, as well this week, didn't we? You got the numbers there? Where's your iPad this week?
Well, funny you mention that because Paul Stevens said, "Hey, Sly and Swoop."
Swoop.
I know how...
That's an insult in some
I have
parts.
the iPad and I once had a job. So, no, I don't have those. I have the individual stats. But yeah, I mean, it was all... I did look at it. Like, I think we won from stoppages, but they won from centre clearances pretty convincingly. I thought Cameron really struggled in the ruck. Like, he engaged physically, but I don't think he was really tapping to advantage. I actually think Mason Cox was a lot better in the ruck.
I'd agree.
I think when Cox got slapped in the head by Rory Slob, that's when the momentum shifted back again in their direction. I really fucking hate the commentary that goes around with Cox. You know, like a lot of our own supporters just ridicule him. And I think if he wasn't there, you wouldn't have a fucking flag. Because he was pretty much drove us to that flag. And that grand final 2 years ago was when he was in the ruck, we were dominant. When Cameron had an injury, but when Cameron was in the ruck, we were struggling.
I did see, I mean, just on that, I did see someone posted on an online message forum that we used to frequent way back in the day. I can't remember who it was, but he said the same thing about, you know, Cox didn't do much on grand final day. And you read that going, did you fucking watch the game?
No.
Yeah, anyway.
I think a lot of people are really one-dimensional in the way they look at things. And it's like, oh, well, hang on, he's here and he didn't do this, so it's a failure. And it's like, you know, I think the way we're structured, he's probably not going to play like this year because they're going to go with the free mobile tools.
Yep.
But, you know, I think if they just played him as a ruck from the day he showed up, he'd be a really good ruckman. He's a good mark. He should have created 2 goals. He did that beautiful kick to Bobby Hill, like he intercepted it. He took that beautiful intercept from the handball, had the poise to turn, kick it across ground to put it in front of Hill so Hill could run onto it. And I can't remember who did the really shit kick to him, but he was chasing. I think Slob was there again, and Cox had to throw out the foot and soccer the ball to McStay, and McStay from about 25 metres out apparently couldn't nail a teammate in the goal line or couldn't kick a goal and fuck that up. But like I thought, you know,
apparently 6 rows in front of him were knocked unconscious by that brain fart.
Oh, it's just anyway. So we've moved away from it. They really were running all over the top of us, and I think there was a lot of elements of our side that just weren't working hard enough. I do recall.
No, yeah, go on. Yeah.
I was just gonna say at halftime, I don't know the figures on me now, but like I remember at halftime, it was like 4 players had half our tackles. It was like Long and Schultz. I can't remember the other 2, but they had half the tackles that, you know, we'd accumulated, which I think showed that our pressure wasn't really on. You didn't have guys really running 2 ways. I think Schultz was fantastic. That's the best game he's played. I think he was our best. I think Josh Davis was really good.
Well, we endorsed him last week. You know, I think once the round gets behind you, that's it. I think you've got a pathway of gold ahead of you. He did say that in his interview afterwards. He'd like to thank those 2 fuckheads on the Rant for talking so positive about him.
Well, I think
especially that guy who wears the sunglasses at night, like Corey Haim.
He did message me and he goes, "Look, I don't appreciate the criticism you've levelled at me over the year. Don't you realise I'm just a work in progress? I'll get better." I still wouldn't have paid big time for him.
Product,
no,
you know?
But no, I thought he was fantastic, and I love that goal where he sort of did the sidestep and show the ball. That's like the first time I've really seen him show any flair. And who was the other one? I have no memory. It was Nick got a lot of possessions. I don't think it was ultra damaging. We sort of moved away a little bit, and Pendlebury was pretty good offensively.
Pendles was good.
Yeah.
And Sidey, I thought was good.
So I thought
in their 308th game together. I mean, what's next? We've collected stamps for 10 years. We're going to celebrate that.
I don't know. Also,
every game's got some fucking theme around it these days.
I thought Sidey was fantastic in the last quarter, but up to that, he was like a little bit hit and miss.
Did you think he shat himself in that
shit kick from
that shit kick? Yeah, I think that I had a discussion with a mate of mine around it. He thought he'd shat himself. I thought, when I remember watching it, the kick looked fucking bad. Like, he had to literally reach out.
Yeah.
But he's come out on the radio since in one of the interview and conceded he shat himself a little bit, and then he was determined to make up after it, which he was. I mean, his effort after that moment was fucking huge. And then to kick the sealer, it was just like a fairy tale finish.
So we jumped ahead a little bit. Let's go back a little bit. They have Darcy, who is really great.
Mm-hmm. So we got a really great Darcy.
Beveridge,
Average? Who's average?
Luke Beveridge.
Oh, is he average or below average?
He's
below Beveridge.
Below average in height. Luke, got some advice for you. He will never make it unless he's at fullback. So probably time to flip him back there.
And go to the Dagobah system.
Yep. So McInnes we lost within the first 45 seconds or so, unfortunately. So that's horrible.
Quick he went down and did an ACL, yeah.
Yep. Do you think that's the end of McInnes' time? I mean, he'll be there.
Well, he's out of contract, so I don't think anyone delists anyone after doing a knee. No. He'll get an extension. Now, have you seen enough in that position?
I haven't. I mean, I would have liked for him to get a good run at it. But
yeah, I mean, there's some people you read about Collingwood supporters after one game in a position, you're the fullback of the century. I think he had a lot of work to do. Yeah, and look, and the thing is, taking the emotion and everything out of it, he's going to be easy to replace because of that stage of his development. We're not really losing anything except getting games into him. With that injury. I don't want that to sound harsh or anything like that. Like if Nick went down with an ACL, you'd be going, well, fuck, that's season over. Someone that's potential is on display and is learning a role when they go out on a long-term injury. You think, well, okay, we can cover that one. We'll probably talk about it in a minute, but who we shuffle around, all that sort of stuff. But it's not that dramatic. I mean, it's terrible for him. Yeah. I
just sort of look at more like he'll be out for this year, obviously, so he'll be ready next year to go. But the ACL is generally a 2-year injuries. That first year back, you're still gaining trust in your body and all that sort of stuff.
It's good though he's done it so early because you'll get to start a pre-season.
Yeah, so I'm just sort of saying I'm like a little bit concerned that if next year's also a write-off and he's at this stage of his career, question marks over his endurance, so this is not going to help you.
If they come out and give him 12 months, then
it's a courtesy to 12 months?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, it's interesting. They went with McInnes. They brought Frampton in the club. They seem to have rated him, but he's really like break glass in case of emergency. They obviously rated Charlie Dean, but he seems to have fallen out of favour to some extent. Who goes back there now? I thought it was... One thing that really pleased me in this game is at a certain stage... both Howe and Moore started going for some marks, which is like, fucking finally. I mean, Howe went for some big punches where he was leaping over packs. It's like, you're the only one there now, go for a mark.
Howe had a really good game.
Yeah.
The other night once, because Perryman went into defence to take Reef's spot, and I think Howe stepped up from that moment too and really started to cover some ground.
But who do they go to now?
You can't rely on it. What was he, 412 years old?
Yeah. Who do you go to? You go to Hoskin Elliott? Do you go to Dean? Do you go to Frampton?
I would think Fly would have... He'd be motivated to get Hoskin Elliott back into the side, but I don't think he's not much of a defender, but he's probably at the same place that Reef's at, if that makes sense. I think Frampton's probably the obvious one. Dean, I think they're going to just have to watch in the VFL.
Well, Hoskin Elliott, they're throwing him back at times. Like, I remember a few years ago when we played West Coast and he went back onto, pretty sure it was Oscar Allen, he did a really good job. I mean, he's got the height, he's got some run and all that sort of stuff, but obviously that's just a Band-Aid solution. If I don't really have anyone coming up, excuse me, but, like they have Frampton and he's 26 or something, 27.
Yeah, I think it comes down to scenarios that if Cox, because he copped the Schlob hit, if he's ruled out this week... You could bring Frampton in to the next game to pinch hit in the ruck. I'd rather Frampton do that than McStay. McStay's another option if you bring Cox in. Would you throw him down the back? You can't have the 3 tall forward line, Cameron and Cox in that side, unless one of them's hoofing down their back. McStay, I probably wouldn't mind seeing what he could do in defence. Did he play a little bit of defence at
I think he was,
Brisbane?
Yep.
When they were trying to find a place for him?
I thought McStay was sublime against Port, and in this game he was sublimely shit. I don't know how many mistakes he made.
All of them, he reckons.
He made some really bad decisions, like I still can't get over toward the end of the game where he was on the halfback flank and he decided, I'm going to go nail Lucky Schultz in the middle of the ground, surrounded by free opposition.
Look, I full marks to fucking Schultz for actually holding that mark. Because that was like a moment from a cartoon show. You had 3 fucking giants coming in to converge.
And credit to Schultz, because Schultz...
He could have been like the Roadrunner and just held up a sign, or the Coyote held up a sign that just said mother. at that point because he was about to be smashed into smithereens.
And he knew it was coming and he stood there, so full credit to him. I thought that was great.
Well, I think he just ducked down a little bit. They all just flew and collided.
But McStay had a really, really... I mean, a few of them had sort of games where they were like really fumbly. Decision-making was horrible a lot of the times. Part of when I was watching the game... was, it was a 6-day break not enough for you guys coming off the Port win.
Yeah, I looked at it because I came in after half time and watched it on the TV, and I found it really frustrating the amount of times that they were kicking to 2-on-1, 3-on-1 contests. Like, it's like, could you find fucking one guy out there on his own or leading in a direction? Why does everything have to be outnumbered when we were pulling off some of them and some we'd obviously cough
pulled
it
off
up.
Sullivan.
Yeah, we pulled off Sullivan. He was smiling.
No, he wasn't there.
Yeah, so I find that frustrating. But when, and again, look, it's an emotional game when you're close and all that sort of thing. And afterwards, when we won and you feel like life can be happy again now, smile. You can smile. I went and put the first half on the replay, and when you take the emotion out of watching something like that, you look at it going, geez, there's a lot of pressure there, a lot of implied pressure. I think definitely Footscray brought their A game based on what they had, and they really pushed us for a lot of it. And it was almost like a finals type game. So I think some of the reactions you see when you sort of frame it in that context was those snappy, try and move the ball on because there's pressure coming from all angles. I think teams have worked out that that's one way to stop our run is to really to gang us. And I think they tried to do that as best as they can. And we coped reasonably well with it, but we could have done better, if you know what I mean. Or you expect them to do better.
Yeah, I mean, I think there wasn't a lot of fluidity to the way they, moved the ball. I mean, there was a few instances, but they're expecting guys like Lipinski and Hill and, the halfbacks there to create more run. I mean, what's his name? Houston was pretty unsighted for a lot of the game.
Yeah, I don't think it was a great game he played. We had about 2 cameos, I think, from memory.
Josh Dacos I thought was pretty good.
Yeah, no, he was good.
Maynard was sort of hit and miss. So you weren't getting a lot of counter-attack out of that. And then, I don't know, like I said, that midfield's a little bit slow. You don't have the wingmen who are moving the ball. I thought Nick a few times overlooked closer options to just sort of drive the ball long. There was times you had like sort of players around him who just hand it off. You're going to create the overlap. But instead he went for like a big kick. McCreary just hasn't really done a lot, which is disappointing. I mean, Hill's another one too. He has his cameos, but I don't know if it's the way they set up, if he just sort of gets shut out of it to an extent.
Yeah, look, he's unsighted for a lot of it when you're watching on the television. I mean, it'd be interesting to maybe someone can comment who's been watching him through the binoculars at the ground, because obviously the camera view doesn't give you a full. But where was he running to? Where was he? Was he being dragged somewhere? Was he defensively trying to set something up and it just didn't come off? I think when you're not getting your hand on the ball, with his pace, you should almost throw him up into the midfield or something just to get
agree. I mean, I go back to what Ginnivan said last year where he talked about the way Collingwood set up and sometimes it could be like in starvation corner. So maybe that has some credence that Hill can't run to that spot and the ball's not moving there, but it's moving more there for Schultz at the moment. Not saying that they're gearing it towards Schultz, but just saying, sometimes it might be Elliott, sometimes it might be Mychek. Membry was pretty much unsighted also. I wonder if he could play defence, but there's a lot of guys I thought just really weren't contributing, and you couldn't get that run, and you couldn't create that scoreboard pressure, and there was a lot of really easy misses too.
I mean, that was it the last quarter. We fucking kicked 5 straight points. And most of them were fucking gimmies. You shouldn't be fucking a set shot up like that. That one where McStay fucking missed the set shot and went up the other end and they goal. Like, I fucking angrily was texted about, fucking hope McStay... What do I call him? I hope McStay was watching that, because it's not that fucking difficult. It's just like those frustrating moments that you shouldn't... Look, you're on a tight angle and you're 40 metres out. Well, fair enough, it's hard. But if you're 20, 30 metres out and all you got to do is kick the ball straight... It's not that difficult.
Oh, you wouldn't think so?
Well, no. I mean, I'm being facetious to a point.
No, you're right. I mean,
it's clearly that difficult because a lot of players do fuck it up.
Hang on, let me just put it back here. That's your fucking job. You're a forward. So you know what? Convert.
Well, that's the thing. Foxy mentioned something about memory, because again, you don't watch a lot of these other players except on Friday nights, and you're really not paying a lot of attention. But he said that he's an incredibly straight kick, and he does look like the ball drops and it just goes in a straight line for most of his kicks. You're thinking, why don't you go and spend some time with these blokes that you just met and show them how to do it?
Yeah, I remember Matthew Lloyd being criticised for doing his little plucking the grass and throwing it up at Marvel, Etihad, or whatever the fuck it was called back then.
Routines are important.
But that's what he said. He goes, just routine. He goes, it's got nothing to do with the wind. He goes, just routine. At those times, you really want someone who's going to nail it, because, who's when the crunch comes, who's the person who's going to take responsibility? And there was a lot of players there who were just like, fuck, kick a goal, take some pressure off us. I mean, good on side bottom for that, goalie crumb. We've always talked about how he's so inventive around goal. So that was great. Go back to Schultz. So Schultz, tackled well. I think he ended up with about 7 tackles. How many goals?
We talked about this last week when we officially endorsed him. That what I love about him with that tackling stuff is that when he misses or hits the deck, he's like a fucking cat. He just springs back up and gets into it. Doesn't always pull it off the second time, but he doesn't stop. And I think McRae mentioned something about that in the presser about, it's good that people are starting to see what we're seeing in him type thing. That
2 games.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, and I think, I've said this before, people, and it's going to take them a while just to stop seeing what we paid for it. It's nothing to do with him or anything like that. I don't think anyone in the supporter base really equates the value out of it. He keeps doing what he's doing and doing it well now. We'll quickly fucking catch on. But I don't think we'll ever look at it and say, that was worth a pick 1 and a pick 2. Let's of course we win the next 3 flags, then I'll shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I mean, it's the hypothetical like I put to you is if he walked from Fremantle in the draft, would you have used the pick 10 to get him? And nobody would have. And that's not his fault, but thank you, Graham Wright. It's frustrating though, because I think there's bigger holes at the club that those picks could have went to.
Yeah.
So, anyway, Jordan Gower's return, how'd you see that?
It'd be better for the run. I don't think he cocked anything up or anything like that. He just didn't move as well as he used to. I mean, did he have 1 or 2 shots on goal from
that one when
memory? He missed 1, I remember.
Yeah, he missed 1. He got that other one, didn't he, when he pushed out, I think it was Karmas?
Yes, he did. He
took the mark, and, the commentators are quick to point out how he pushed him out. I mean, you fucking ignore the times Darcy did it, but hey, fucking... Anyway.
Well, we copped the rub of the umpiring, that.
Yeah, I've actually got that down here. So, what did you think of the umpiring?
It was fucked, and I think it was fucked for both sides. And I think what you got to do is take the discrepancy in the numbers out of the equation. It's no hard and fucking fast rule that one side's going to get the same. But yeah, and it's not so much the ones that were paying. I think Footscray and below average Beveridge was saying in his presser that there was quite a few that they gave away that he wished they didn't, more or less, that they were sloppy in some areas. So you can't sort of fault the ones that were paid. It's the ones that weren't, or ones that were adjudicated. You think, well, that should set the standard for the rest of the game. Well, fuck it, we won't do this one again.
Well, that's that very first one where Darcy tackled Moore, and Moore was pinged for holding the ball, and it's like, okay, that's the rule, but you didn't keep doing it the whole fucking thing. And I remember there was that one instance on the half-back where we laid 2 tackles and they just dropped it both times.
That was fucking appalling.
And they were textbook. They're the ones you should be showing to umpires again. 10 out of 10 times that's holding the ball.
What's the point of having an incorrect disposal rule when you can be fucking tackled and just drop it? Surely that's the definition of holding the ball.
Yeah.
Well, why is it suddenly play on? But I think that's an edict from the AFL to keep the game going. Is otherwise it gets too stoppy for them.
Yeah, well, that shits me. I mean,
the thing is, you do the hard fucking work. You should be rewarded for it.
You should be rewarded entirely. Yeah, and the stoppy thing, I think if you're awarding more free kicks, you're going to clear the congestion, because what actually happens is you get someone tackles it, he drops it. The congestion remains there, and then they wrestle over it, and then someone tackles it and drops it or whatever. So you're not clearing the congestion. Just fucking pay a free kick, and everyone has to sprint
to their zones. As soon as the whistle goes, they're already running off into position. So, they're not going to hang around and have a fucking chat.
Yeah, so pay the free kick, and you will clear it immediately. I mean, I hate the way the game not the way it's umpired, because the umpires are umpiring the way they've been instructed to umpire, but the way the AFL has determined, hey, this is the way we want it to look. And the thing is, I saw Eddie Maguire fucking waffling on that. But he was talking about, well, why don't we just make it, you can't rush it, and if you rush it, it's a free. And it's like, what the fuck is wrong with rushing it? You get a point out of it. Last time I checked, you only need a point to win a game. And it's like, you're not giving the players any outs. You're saying keep the ball in motion, even when there's no alternative. So, we see the deliberate versus the insufficient intent. I had this discussion with someone. It's fucking genius what the AFL did. Because with deliberate, it means you have to purposely kick it out or handball it out and you get pinged. With insufficient intent, you didn't have to purposely send it out. You just didn't try hard enough to keep it in. So it's a totally different interpretation. It's like, why can't a fucking player who just kicks the ball 50 metres and it bounces out, why can't he play for touch like that? Why are you pinging him? Why are players, all their options are taken from them, and it said, you just got to keep the ball in play. So there's so many instances now where you look at the player game, his only alternative, if he doesn't take the action of just clearing the ball and hits the boundary, whatever the fucking case is to stand there and get tackled. Is that what you say the alternative should be? It's fucking ridiculous. The AFL's a fucked organisation. And then another one I shouted at so many times is the not 15 rule.
Oh, that's fucking insane.
There's 25 of them, but they'll pay one, and it's like, oh, okay. And then there'll be another 24, and then they'll pay the next one. There's no consistency to it.
Yeah, I mean, you sit there and there's so many dinky little kicks. You go, it can't be for fucking 15.
No.
And yet somehow the umpire has some sort of fucking mathemat and a protractor and everything that they can judge the distance perfectly that it's within a particular range. It just does your fucking head in. Because, again, it's just so fucking impossible to accurately, predict. It's like the fucking snicko on the goalpost.
We'll talk about this. I mean, if the ball passes the post within an inch, doesn't the velocity of the ball cause some sort of reverberation that would potentially be picked up?
Well, you think so. Or if you're a smart defender, you stand next to the post and you go...
Yeah, in cricket, I mean, they correlate it to seeing the hot spot on the bat. So they're not just going on one thing generally. And they admit, the sound might have come from elsewhere. It might not have come from the bat. It might have come from the glove hitting the top of the pad, whatever the fucking case. I mean, that's snicko just seems like a fucking farce in AFL.
When a piece of leather hits a goalpost, there's a specific sound that it makes?
I don't know.
Is there something on a sine wave or something that they're going off? What's the basis of this? We haven't been told anything.
I don't fucking know. I mean, apparently...
I think we just make it up.
Blurry vision and...
What if the goal umpire drops his guts at that time near the microphone, and that makes snicko go off?
I don't think
Could you lose a grand final like that?
That's sort of
we would.
Goes to.
There's every chance that'll happen to Collingwood one day.
It's always the big fear is one day it'll happen in the grand final.
There'll be an errant gaseous cloud erupting somewhere, and that'll be how we lose.
But the not 15 rule, that shits me because I'd actually go the other way. It's just I'd fucking pay a mark from anything.
Yeah, I think it almost gets to that point. When it becomes absurd, then just let it fucking go. Short pass. Yeah, well, so what's the difference between a 15-metre kick and a 15-metre and 1 centimetre kick? Yeah. That's the letter of the ruling.
Yeah. I mean, I think if you let people just pay a mark from any kick to whoever, it means, again, you're going to clear congestion because at least fucking players will spread to zone and all that sort of stuff. They've always got that worry that if you pay these marks, the play's going to stay congested. It's like, why? Fucking players are constantly trying to run the position. They're not trying to run into congestion. They're trying to clear congestion.
That's it. You're not going to make too much ground if you approach the ball rather than run the opposite direction when someone's about to have a kick.
Yeah. Out of curiosity, so Rory Schlob fucking punches Mason Cox in the head and he has no case to answer for.
I actually don't mind this as long as he goes out and punches Kerno in the head on Friday night. They play on Friday night? Whatever they play.
I put this to you and some other guys. Braden Maynard went for a smother against Melbourne, and momentum made him collide into Angus Brayshaw.
And ended his career.
That's nothing to do with the 928 concussions prior. Just that particular
that was that one moment. That's it. All comes down to that.
Or 3 minutes earlier when you got a knock in his own forward line. But then the AFL said, well, from now on, the player, if he does that, he's culpable. So a football act, if it results in an injury, then you're culpable. We saw Jackson Archer fucking collide with someone who slipped, and he got 3 weeks, which is just fucking ridiculous to me. But now you got a guy punching someone else in the head, and you're saying that one was fine. I mean, Jason Cloak would probably like you guys to review his fucking 2002 preliminary final suspension.
So he punched him in the head. His fucking glasses were physically dislodged and flew open. He had stitches in his cheek and didn't participate in the rest of the game. Now, any other fucking day at the tribunal, these are all reasons why you're getting rubbed out.
Yep.
It is staggering that he's playing this week.
And look, on the flip side, I would normally say, hey, and I've always said it, sometimes shit happens, so just accept it. But that's not the way the AFL's going. The AFL's going, no, we don't want any sort of contact that could result in an outcome of injury or whatever.
Don't they have some sort of reckless clause or something in their tribunal rules?
Yeah, they do.
Apparently not in this instance, though.
So I find that fucking absolutely absurd. What's it, because he has blue hair? Is that it?
Is he some sort of they, them or something?
I don't know. He could be a Smurf. Has anyone considered that? A really big Smurf.
Yeah, super Smurf.
No, look, under your rules, not fucking our rules, under your rules, he should have got 6 weeks for that. Fucking poor Peter Wright, but he got weeks for charging for a mark and colliding into someone who was smaller than him.
He probably should have got something, I think, definitely.
Again, under their rules, which is like any sort of contact, even if it's a football act but it injures an opponent, then it's a suspension. But you didn't follow your own rules. So I don't fucking get that. Any other thoughts about this game, other than the fact that, let me put something else to you. Do you find...
That's what Lob said.
Schlob. Do you find Craig McRae might be a little bit tactically... what's the word? Deficient?
Look, I think... we sort of made the comment pre-game with the long decision that you think, and judging by the impact that he had when he brought in, and on the back of the performance he had last week, why would you derail that momentum? And you think, well, and it comes back to tactically, he's better on the ground than fucking off of it. Why would you make him sub?
I don't know.
And there must be some logic there that
I don't think there's any
drove
logic.
that. And it'd be good to have some insight or be privy sometimes to the reasoning for this, so you can try and sound it out in your head why it would make some form of sense. None of this fucking stuff does.
I think
McRae's he's like Bucks and Mick to a certain extent, that they're very fucking set with the process. That you just keep executing it, and everything will come good. But there's just days where that process isn't just going to work. That you want to do things a little bit differently, shake it up a little bit, and you don't see a lot of that reaction.
The only justification I think he had for having Long as sub is if everything just went as you'd expect it to go, and that means Reece McInnes doesn't go down in the first 35 seconds. At some point, he subs off a side bottom or a Nick Dacos or one of the other mids to Goey potentially, since it's his first game back, and Long comes on to play that role and just fill that spot. But I would have thought that, given the game he had against Port, I think he was really important for the synergy at the midfield. Defensively, I think he's the best mid you got already. He's defensively the best midfielder. And that sub role should be someone who can come on and have an impact or play various roles. So I would have rather they just fucking said, if instead of playing him as sub, fucking just send him to the VFL and play Ed Allen as sub. So at least he gets some time in AFL or shit, whatever. I don't like that for him either, but it seems that McRae just goes, okay, whoever's the least senior player will be my sub, or be the first one subbed off.
I think just fuck the sub off completely. Increase the bench by 1 and just be fucking done with it.
Yeah, but they want that sort of thing that, one team doesn't have more on the bench than the other team.
Yeah, but as soon as you activate a sub and the other one doesn't, you do.
No, you don't. Because
the other team's still got one in...
No, but I'm saying in terms of your rotations, you'll have, if you don't have injuries or whatever, you'll have 4 or...
Yeah, if you have 2 blokes go down,
you're now
impacted. So,
well, now we need to get smart territory. 3 blokes go down and only 2 of them were smokers.
Why would they be smoking?
No, but I think the sub's fucking ridiculous, but I'm just saying in terms of that's what their logic is, it's stupid.
Logic. The man's talking logic.
Just going back to Nick Dacos, because this is something that I'm seeing a bit of. Are you surprised how much opposition fans rate him a shit player?
Oh, I think that's envy. It's the same thing, just to go off on a tangent for a second. The amount of hate that fucking Cox gets, I don't understand where it comes from.
No,
they loathe him, and like some of the memes and stuff that come out after the Schlob belt, you're thinking like, you have a laugh at it and that sort of thing, but you look at it going, I don't understand why so many people are commenting about fucking, it was deserved and all that. What's he fucking ever done to upset anyone? Yeah, he does a bit of fucking shit talking, but who doesn't?
Yeah.
It baffles me.
Yeah, but a lot of this is like, we seem to cop it, it's like, all right, so there was a free kick disparity, and it's been a big issue. Everyone's fucking mentioned it. I remember a few Queen's birthdays ago, like we were dominating, and then fucking Melbourne just got the best run of umpiring decision. And then when that came up, like I remember Gary Lyon going, "Oh well, I think they're all there." And it's like, so when that happens for Collingwood, it's an issue. When it happens against Collingwood, it's fine. Similarly with the, lob hitting fucking Cox. Imagine Maynard hits someone like that. You'd have people going, oh, well, this is what a doggy is, fucking hitting players, disguising it as football act. Fucking Darcy last year when he ran into his back, an unprotected back. That should have been a big issue. It wasn't. It's when Collingwood is the beneficiary, then suddenly it's a fucking issue. And the Nick Dacos stuff, I remember this fucking one moronic, lobotomized fuckwit on Instagram had a video, Collingwood Essendon game where Nick gathered up the ball around the boundary and two Essendon players are coming toward him. Nick just took it over. And this idiot said, oh, the Nick Dacos glaze just has to stop. And it's like, all right, so your evidence of this is 3 seconds of play against him winning the Rising Star, him who would have won the Brownlow in 2023, who won fucking whatever Players Award it was last year and became second in the Brownlow. And your fucking evidence to the contrary is 3 seconds of football where instead of getting tackled over the line, he just took it over the line anyway. You're a fucking idiot, mate. This is the thing that kills me, because we talk about like opposition players, like we talk about Cripps, how much we fucking think he's a beast, how much would love him. I can't believe the amount of people, and a lot of them are Carlton, but who can't actually just respect an opponent. I remember some dickhead on X saying, "Oh, Mark Murphy's better than Scott Pendlebury." It's like, okay, whatever. You got to go for some win somewhere, because your club's such a fucking pathetic fuck nowadays. You have nothing else to hold on to. But the Nick Dacos thing really fucking does my head in.
I don't get it. Because the thing is, at the start, when he started really showing something, a lot of people were supportive. It's great. I'd love to have him, that sort of thing. Now it's just become vile hatred.
Well, there's another one.
And this is a guy who doesn't play fucking rough or anything.
No.
Fair as all fuck.
And it gives credit to fucking everything. But it's like, the GWS game, he went down to cramps. It was this fucking massive issue. It was like, oh, he's not prepared, he's not ready, he's not fit. Curnow went down with fucking cramps. Oh, well, he hasn't had a good, run at it and all that. So, again, one player gets fucking attacked and the other player gets defended. It's a typical fucking thing. It's just double standards.
I think some of it, though, is it's clearly media-driven, because it does infuriate and it does get all the other fucking opposition morons to go chasing that.
But do you think it is? Because I see it more with fans, and I've seen people like Gerard Whiteley, I've seen Gerard Healy, probably all the Gerards, but they've actually really advocated for how good a player is. Like, I remember Gerard Healy, I wrote this great article about Nick in about the 2023 Grand Final, like, he got all these hardball possessions, like people are calling him soft, but he got the most contested possessions for the game from memory. That handball he gives to De Goey, that's a handball that he's decided in a millisecond to go for, and most other players have contemplated. The media that I've seen have actually advocated for what a good player is. It's just the jealous fucking idiocy of the fans. Like, I remember one dickhead going, oh, they stopped the game for him because he had a cramp against GWS.
Well, bloody Kane Corn said that too, though.
Well,
so we stop games for cramp now, do we? Or something along those lines.
Well, from memory, it was in play, and at that stage it was the first cramp. You didn't know if it was cramp or, because we were looking at the game, is he pulled something or was it a cramp? So, I don't know, imagine the umpire was making the same estimation. Yeah,
are you injured, mate? Have you torn anything that you can tell us, or are you just cramping? Do you have that discussion normally?
No.
Is it an ACL or just a bad boo-boo?
Kane Corns, you realise what extraordinarily much bigger dickhead he's become on Channel 7.
He's just master of clickbait. It's all deliberate. I don't think anyone can be that genuinely stupid.
I beg to differ. But Braden Maynard, allegedly North offering him a 6-year deal. or will be offering him a $6 million deal, multi-million-dollar deal. What do you feel, firstly, what do you feel about Craig Kelly's response?
Which was?
Craig Kelly was basically like, well, if you can get that sort of money, I think we should be congratulating him. And yeah.
That's the thing, is there's no way that we can match that. I think the down thing probably would be, in his mind at the moment, is you brought blokes like Perryman in on big dollars who are probably getting paid more than him, who's a long-serving Collingwood player, a premiership player. But that's the nature of contracts and that sort of thing. Because he's 30, turns 30 next year, Maynard.
He's 28, so he'll be 29.
Yeah, so I mean, he's should be at the height of his powers, but the decline will come.
Do you think he will? Because I think he's on the other side already. I'm not saying he's bad, but I think
the same impact.
Yeah, the way he's played his career, the way he's thrown his body around, I think he's probably going to be one who's going to nosedive quickly at because, I mean, even now you sort of see he seems to always be a little bit fractured or whatever. So a 6-year deal, I mean, if Collingwood was signing him to a 6-year deal, even like if it was...
No, you'd be
going, I don't know if we should be doing that.
Not at $1.2 million a year or whatever it is. Look, I think, at the end of the day, you get a first round pick for him, you'd have to probably quite comfortably say, look, if you're good, we'll obviously love to keep you, but if you're good, I would strongly recommend that you go for this.
If we got
the thing is, we could then use that first round pick on Ben Mackay.
I was going to say use it on Jack Higgins.
Oh, well, either or. Maybe we can bundle it up. Maybe we can then bring next year's first round pick into the deal as well and get rid of that as well. Because they just get in the fucking way, these first rounders.
Yeah. Would you try and package a deal if you got a first round pick and then the following year's first round pick? And I think you can now trade 4 years into the future or something. So get all these first rounders and Bobby Hill and Darcy Cameron and Lockie Schultz and offer them to West Coast for Harley Reid.
Yeah.
You take that?
Yeah, I'd take it. You'd take it, wouldn't you?
I'd drive them all to the airport.
Well, maybe we could promise to give away the next 8 years worth of first rounders.
Yeah, we don't want picks, we want players.
That's it. Didn't say anything about good players. Just want players.
Or Harley Reid. Harley Reid's a good player, allegedly. He's had a pretty shit start to the year.
He's been quiet, but he's surrounded by a lot of quiet. Although they did start well today, so he was involved in that, I assume.
I don't know. I didn't watch any of it. Yeah.
No, not I.
Good game by Melbourne, though.
Yeah, no, I watched the...
they bounced back,
I watched the last quarter of that. They just fucking stopped. Literally just stopped.
Surely that club is imploding.
There's something going on there. I mean, like, there was even, I think, one passage where the ball was just fucking kicked and the North forward marked it, and Clayton Oliver was just sitting there just in the front of the camera's view, and he was just incredulous to the fucking max. Hands on the head, just turn around, just what the fuck type moment. I think that really probably summed up their game at that stage.
I think his foot had stuck in some plaster. He caught up to that one. Awesome video, Black and White United. 100% agree with Geelong model. With that being said, people are forgetting we are getting Tom McGuan. We'll also have 3 decent recruits we picked up. Do we? It's Lucky Schultz is one, no doubt. I think soon, if the amount of players that we will retire, we might need to go to the draft, but we won't bottom out. We can't go to the draft. You got Tasmania getting all the picks. We are too big of a club to do that. Love the video. This video.
I think he was talking about the Britney Spears one that we were watching.
Cool. So I already read the Paul Stevens who called you Swoop.
Don't do it again.
Hellenic Pie. You think I should know how to read.
He's one of your brethren.
There's a lot of them. Believe it or not, your biggest fan is from Greece. I don't miss your show. Like, you know how many times I misread that? It's like, I don't miss that you're gone. I'm glad you're gone.
You say fuck off after that?
Yeah.
Just stop getting on my YouTube.
Am I ever going to see your face again? No way, fuck off. I don't miss your show. 62 years old, born in Melbourne. I've been living here for 50 years. I am a Legends fan. The team is my connection all these years with the place where I was born and went to school. Continue to be the voice of the average fan. I'm not average.
You're below average.
And the ones that reminisce the era of suburban football. Peter McKenna and his team will always be my lighthouse. Good morning. It's a really nice message.
Well, it's night when we're reading that.
Yeah.
How inconsiderate. No, that's good. You want to say something to him in Greek?
I've had his store.
Your farts where?
It's just thank you. Thank you. No game this week.
Oh, we'll win this one then.
Yeah.
We're having a bye because, it's round 3.
It's been a harsh season. It's been a tough season, 3 weeks in.
I think we need the break.
Yeah, 3 weeks in.
Actually, I think probably in reality that the break will be beneficial.
Don't you think the bye's a crock of shit?
We won't cramp as much after this.
No.
What a fucking shit start to the way that they structure these seasons now.
What, the round 0?
Fucking buys and stuff. Like the VFL side played apparently this weekend, and then they're straight into a bye.
Yeah.
Well, fuck, it must have been some game.
Well, you think it's going to be really unfair too, because you get a club that might just be starting to motor along and then they get a bye, and then you get a club who's motor along for 8 or 9 weeks and they need a rest and they get it. So one's beneficial, one's detrimental. I find it really ridiculous. As an aside, can we not have the bear here because he's blocked my view of the camera the whole fucking game?
Has he?
Yeah, I can't see anything. I think has he always been that high?
Yeah. I think something happened. Something changed.
Something
with the bear.
changed. Has he always been? He always been this high?
Yeah, I didn't know there's a room on the other side of the house.
Oh, on the other side of the house.
We'll see if we can get the AFL over to do something about the bear.
Is that the moon? Any final thoughts?
No. Well, aside from that, we play Carlton next game.
Fortnight.
Yes. So they'll hopefully. Do we want them to lose to the Bulldogs and come in against us undefeated? Because we always fuck up the week after a bye. You know that. That's tradition.
Yeah.
Or would you rather them win, take the pressure off themselves this week, and come in on a bit more of a
No, I like them to lose. I
like them to keep losing.
Yeah, I like them to keep losing. I think they're not far from unravelling. You know, you get that sort of, when you lose enough, then internally they go into self-preservation mode and people stop worrying about team and they start worrying about themselves. I mean, I think you're seeing it at Melbourne 2 weeks in. So I'd like them to lose.
I did see in Voss's post-match press conference thing, he said it's not me, it's them.
Well, he said it's a work in progress. I mean, I watched that Hawthorn game. They were actually pretty good. They probably should have been a few goals up at half-time. But, you know, when Hawthorn put their foot down, Carlton couldn't go with him. And it's one of those, like, I've said it for quite a while. It's just, he reminds me so much of Buckley as a coach, Voss. It's just like, kick the ball, win the contested possession, and then kick it and win it again. And there doesn't seem a lot of system outside of Cripps getting it or Koino taking the mark.
Yeah, it sort of feels like the rest of the competition's moved on from that game plan, and
they moved on at 10 years ago. It's like now, and I think they were talking about it on one of these football shows. It's just, it's not really about contested possession anymore. It's about like sort of linkages and all that sort of stuff. So he seems very much to coach the way he played, and he was a fantastic player, you know, brilliant player, but they're not getting any fluidity themselves anyway.
Yeah, fuck him.
This is not the Carlton rant. So, yeah.
That'd be a colourful episode, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Oh, that would be great. So, like, subscribe, share, get your friends to watch us. We're trying to break the 5,000
subscribers.
Yeah.
How many have we got to go? 4,950?
I think it's 4,700 or something. And we'll be back later.
Goodbye. What are you, fucking McStay?
It's kind of magic.